Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's lecture. Today we're going to be learning about the principles of design. So, what are the principles of design? Artists and designers use the elements of design that we previously learned about to create visually appealing and effective designs by following basic guidelines, known as the principles of design. I like to think of the principles of design as the rules and the elements of design as the tools that help us follow those rules. There are 7 principles of design in art and design, and they are proportion, balance, emphasis, rhythm, unity, pattern, and repetition. In fashion design, and for this class, we just focus on 5 of those: proportion and scale, balance, emphasis, rhythm, and harmony. Today, we're going to be going over a little bit about each of these principles, along with some examples in fashion. So, proportion and scale is our first principle of design, and it refers to the relationship between the different parts or objects of the design. It compares how big or small something is to the rest of the garment. Small objects like buttons, pockets, and sunglasses should be in proportion to the overall size of the garment to create a more cohesive look. When something is out of proportion, it draws attention, and you can use this on purpose to create focal points. To be the most appealing, clothing should follow the natural proportion of the body. To enhance these natural proportions, we try to follow the rule of thirds. So the rule of thirds refers to breaking the body into 3 parts, with 2 of the parts being the same. This is often done with high-rise pants or long jackets or skirts. In the outfit on the left, you can see how the pants take up 2/3 of the body. This makes her legs seem really long and just makes it look really nice. Jeans normally do a horrible job at following the natural body and the rule of thirds because they don't hit our natural waistlines. Low-rise pants and other items like that can cut the body in half, which can make things seem out of proportion and choppy. The next principle of design is balance. Balance is the distribution of visual weight in a design. Visual weight is something that draws the eye, which can be something like embellishments, like buttons and embroidery, the texture of the material, or the color. Designers should distribute the visual weight by balancing out these different elements in the design. When a designer distributes the weight identically on each side of the design, it's known as formal or symmetrical balance. This army jacket that you can see here can be split directly down the middle on the buttons. There are the same pockets, lapels, and buttons on each side, which makes it feel more formal and organized. And these are feelings that the Army would want to create, which is why they have selected formal symmetry and balance. Informal balance is when there are asymmetrical sides of the design. One of the most common ways to accomplish this is by diagonal lines or textures. This one-shouldered dress is not symmetrical, but the visual weight is still balanced through the slanted hemline and radial pleats. Informal balance creates movement and can include multiple focal points. It's often used in red carpet or avant-garde outfits because it's very eye-catching and unique. Emphasis is our next principle of design. This is when you create a focal point or something that draws attention. There can be multiple things that are eye-catching, but emphasis helps you create an order of what's most important. To create emphasis, you can create contrast of color or texture through the placement of embellishments on the design or by tension from conflicting lines. One of the most common ways we use emphasis is to highlight the waist. In the picture on the right, there's no emphasis or contrast on the waist. However, on the left-hand side, there's a strong black waistband, which helps emphasize this area. Embellishing the waist or adding color contrast can draw attention to the waist size and can even make it look smaller. However, if you don't want people to notice the waist area, then make sure that there is no emphasis like there is on the right. The next principle of design is rhythm. It's creating a sense of movement by repeating patterns or elements. The repetition will guide the viewer's eye across the piece because it feels alive and interesting. In my opinion, rhythm is one of the most important principles for fashion design. There are 5 types of rhythm: gradation, opposition, radiation, repetition, and transition. Gradation is creating rhythm by gradually changing from one size or color to another. The dress on the left slowly changes from orange to yellow, which draws the eye down the dress. The dress on the right uses gradation as the tiers of the skirt increase in size. The skirt actually getting bigger helps create movement in the dress and in the way we perceive the dress. Opposition is the direct contrast of patterns, which can be created through perpendicular lines that create right triangles through the use of black and white or complementary colors. Opposition is mostly seen in fashion through plaids or flannels. Radiation is when the pattern starts at a central point and works outwards. In other parts of design, radiation can be seen in domes, kaleidoscopes, and even flowers. This dress shows how fashion design can utilize radiation. The line starts at the central point at the waist and then flow outwards, which helps guide the eye from the focal point through to the ends of the dress. Repetition is when a line, color, or pattern are repeated throughout the piece. In this dress, the gold flowers are repeated down the length of the dress, which creates movement in an otherwise structured and still design. Transition is using smooth or curved lines to lead from one area of a design to another. In fashion design, this type of rhythm is often created through princess seams that help guide the eye throughout the whole piece without breaking it up. The last principle of design is harmony. This is when all of the other elements and principles of design are balanced and fit together to create visual unity. You might not be able to explain it, but you just know that it looks right. To create a universally beautiful design, the goal is to create harmony. Vera Ellen's dress from White Christmas that you can see here is one of my favorite costume pieces of all time. All of the elements of shape, color, and the principles of scale and balance help this dress feel so harmonious and stunning. Think about some of your favorite costumes, trends, or designs. Most likely, they have visual harmony and unity between all of their different elements. Now that you're familiar with all of the elements and principles of design, it's time to implement them into your own designs. When you're designing a fashion piece, start by focusing on just one principle. Eventually, you want to see how many you can use to hopefully achieve visual harmony. Being familiar with the principles of design can also help you select fashion pieces for yourself and for others. Recognizing what makes a good design can help you in your design and styling journey. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you were able to learn a little bit more about the principles of design.